Gather around, friends, new and old, and welcome to the POWWOW podcast. I am one of your hosts, Philip.
And I'm the other host, David.
Well, you look all tan, you look all muscular, you look refreshed as ever. How was it?
I am tan. I got a nice, good tan for.
How are the cheeks?
Hopefully last.
Yes.
I love seafood. I love to swim in the sea. I love Spanish women, and they think I'm all right too. And it really makes me think I should be living there instead of here. But here I am, back again. Hopefully the tan doesn't fade over the next couple weeks, but inevitably it will, and I'll just be a regular old white guy again. But yeah. Here I am. If you've gone on my personal Instagram, you might have seen a couple photos.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. I had a great week. It was very relaxing. Nothing too crazy.
And you went with family, right?
No, I went with a friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so was there anything in particular that was fun? Did you see or do anything in particular, or was it just for relaxation?
No, I was on a quest to find great seafood everywhere that we went, and also paella. But the paellas, I would say about 60% of them were disappointing. But we did have a couple good ones. And I was just on a quest for seafood, and I did have some very, very good seafood. But other than that, no, I mean, it was nothing special. I swam in the Mediterranean. We were in a place that has like there's like a what's called the Mar Menor, which is like the minor sea, the smaller sea, and then there's the Mediterranean, and the other one is like closed off, right? And so the water's kind of like still and less nice. There's no waves. It's kind of gross. But the Mediterranean was refreshing and like not too warm, not too cold. It was just perfect.
Speaking of refreshing but far too hot, I did happen to see the newest James Bond this week. It just came out. So by the point that this podcast comes out, it will be rather old, I suppose. But I agree with your assessment and review when you saw it, brief as it may have been. The best part was far too fleeting. Arma de Armas.
Yes.
Oh,
Ana de Armas.
We stand in ovation and applause and wish that there was more of you in that film. That is all I will say, because we both respect the rights to not spoil things unless explicitly stated. Speaking of things spoiling and perhaps going rotten, let us get to the main topic.
So with Halloween just around the corner, we thought, why not do an episode that's themed around Halloween and take advantage of what is, for some reason, America's favorite holiday amongst the youth. Like, I get why it's fun. I love Halloween. I always have a great time. The parties are always the most fun of throughout the year. The best parties are always Halloween parties. But there was one of the things that surprised me the most when I moved to the US for the first time is just how much people love Halloween in the US. And so why not celebrate a little bit here on the podcast? We are a camping themed podcast, and so we can get a little spooky sometimes in the woods alone. Am I right, Phil?
Well, the past couple episodes actually have been a little spooky. I hope I fixed my audio, because I was just like a little distorted. It was a little something there. So I think
I noticed that.
It's a technical side that we got to do, but I think I fixed it. Knock on wood, knock in the woods. Ooh, I think we fixed it. But yes, we do love some Halloween themed and decorations around here. Does your family decorate? Is that a thing in the Netherlands?
I mean, not really. It's not like I live in a fairly large expat community, a lot of Americans, a lot of internationals. So there is some, but especially in certain areas. But for the most part, no. However, we do. Yeah, we might put a few things up, and like we'll be prepared for trick or treaters when the day comes around.
Is trick or treating a thing over there?
It has become a thing. How cool. It's not nearly as prolific as it is in the United States.
Fair enough. All right. Yes. So we move along to the scariness of this episode, and the first of what we hope will be many Halloween-themed episodes. But of course, this one we're going to start with fears. And you know what, David? we're gonna get real. We are gonna get real. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty open. I'm opening myself up to some stuff here. We're gonna get funny. We're gonna get real. We're gonna get a little spooky here. So, are you ready? I'm a little afraid to start this episode, but I'm also excited.
Oh, I'm ready. I was ready when I don't know when. Let's go. Let's do this.
Go. All right. First off the list, stereotypical fears. Now, this can be something as mundane as spiders. That again, these are all very valid fears, or something as effusive as, I don't know, roller coasters. Something along those lines. What is a stereotypical fear? What you would classify to be a stereotypical fear that you qualify with, David?
Honestly, there really aren't any. I struggled with this prompt or with the idea of stereotypical fears simply because beyond the obvious and the kind of depressing stuff like losing a family member or getting hit by a whatever, I don't have a lot of those stereotypical fears. This is what I wrote down. Spiders. If I lived in Australia or somewhere where there are lots of deadly spiders.
That's true.
But I don't. So, and then the other thing is, I guess, I have a healthy fear of snakes, but no more than the regular person. Like, I think any smart person's gonna have a fear of snakes. I don't have an especially strong fear of snakes. If I know it's not venomous or it's not capable of killing me or harming me, then I'm not gonna freak out about. Like, I've held snakes before, I've been close to snakes before, but I guess if it's a venomous snake and it's a wild, it's not like in a cage. Yes, obviously I'm scared of that snake. But I don't suffer from fear of heights or claustrophobia or fear of flying or fear of the number 13, triskaidekaphobia. Nope, none of that.
My question to you, because I didn't list this down, but I'm just curious. For fear of heights, I'm not actually really that afraid of heights as far as like a view, because I know some people just look out and are standing securely on like the Grand Canyon or something, and they would be afraid of heights. But I would be afraid of heights if I was... the only thing preventing me from falling off was a rail and I was like overlooking and looking down and down and down. That does give me...
But I think that's
that
like a natural sense of vertigo. Like, everyone has that. But whereas people who actually have a fear of heights, it doesn't even need to be that high. They could be on like third story and look down out of a window, and it gives them it makes them panic.
Okay.
Like my dad, for example, I don't know how, like, to what extent he really fears heights. He says he fears heights, and why not believe him? He says if he's on the top of, like, when we were on the top of the Empire State Building, like, he was okay for the most part. But if he was like looking down and there, maybe he'd have some vertigo. The one thing is, he used to be a pilot when he was younger. He's never had that when he's in a plane. When he's in a plane, he's completely comfortable.
Maybe it's
just
something...
the most natural thing for him.
Maybe it's something about control. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so that was both of your fears, correct? Or was that just one?
Yes, that's both of them. Go ahead.
All right, so mine... I'm scared of things breaking or snapping, whether it be on my person or others. I have trampolines have really fallen out of favor with me as I've grown up, because I imagine and just seeing like bone pop out and like it actively scares me. Like whenever I watch a scary movie, I'm not scared of somebody getting gutted. I'm not scared of somebody, I don't even know, just getting shot to death or being electrocuted, whatever. But if I go and see them jump off of the second level of a house to escape the killer, and then they go to the ground and then their leg snaps, that actively just like, God, I'm cringing the entire time. It's not even disgust. It's more so I'm actively thinking and preparing myself for it. That's how much. And then for me, I'm always scared that I'm going to break something or do something. Like my first thought is, oh my God, did I break it? Whenever I'm going around and have sustained an injury. My next one, and this one's probably more practical, but it's stereotypical, I would say. I'm scared of mismanaging my time / schedule. I wasn't always this way, but it shows itself in that I always, ironically, you're going to laugh at this one, I always give myself far more time than probably necessary.
Okay.
But I'm somebody who will be like, oh, let's go grab lunch. And even though I think lunch will only be in an hour or something, I'll still give myself about 2.5 hours to 3 hours of time in my schedule to make sure that I can either get to the next thing a little bit early, maybe if necessary, but at least I'm not late with how long I have at any one event. It's always been something to me. Like I will not go to things because I don't think I have the extended amount of time that I would want to give myself, because I won't enjoy myself having to leave early or I'll feel bad or something.
I know we're going a little bit off topic, but I have a similar thing when it comes to preparedness. So like, for example, when I went on my vacation last week, I was okay, I'm going for 8 days. Well, then I should probably pack 15 pairs of underwear. because you never know what might happen, and
Especially in that department.
so like it's never happened before where I've like had so many accidents or or any even, but I'm like, I can't be without enough pairs of underwear. Like, I don't want that to happen, so I like overpack to the max. I over prepare. Like, if I'm going to Amsterdam for the day, I'll like, okay, I need like a battery pack and then an extra charger with a wall thing as well, so that if I need to, I can go into a cafe so that I can always like make sure my phone has charge. And then I'll bring 2 hats because maybe I'll want to change my hat halfway through the day. I'm just like, over preparedness, man. I'm scared of, I don't know.
Trust me, if either one of us has a complaint about being too anal or too prepared, what have you, I completely sympathize with you in that one. I thought it might be too on the nose, or we've already discussed that, but even
a little bit, yeah, we did touch on it. I think
we've
when we
touched on
talked
it
about
before.
addictions.
So there we go. All right, let's move along to psychological fears. So this is the real stuff. This is going deep. This is going to be opening up to the trust tree here in the pod. So let's go with. I think I have a fear of commitment. If that's not already been clear before, whether that be in a relationship or even to just a place, I myself, one of my biggest fears, it probably is to just end up living here in Arizona where I'm at. I'm very much a free spirit. I don't like to be tethered down, whether that be to a relationship. I like a lot of the benefits that come with those. Again, but having a place in Arizona and having like my favorite restaurant, having a place that I know, like having my friends here, having a place that I go to even to just get my hair done. Of course, I enjoy those things, but I also don't want to ever feel like I'm committed to staying here. I don't want to be held down because of something that I'm obligated to stay here in Arizona and held down. It just commitment overall, I think I actually have a real fear of. David, what's your first one?
Well, I mean, I don't know about that because we're on episode 37 of this podcast and we've been pretty consistent week to week. So you've at least committed to me and I appreciate that.
Yes.
I have a weird fear that I'm going to say something stupid. And it's like, in some situations, it's very real and very, very serious. And I'm worried that I'll, like, I have a fear that I'm going to say something wrong or that will damage relationship, the serious stuff. But it's also like almost like I have the most mild form of Tourette's, in where I'm worried that I'm going to be going through airport security and just scream out like, I'm carrying drugs, which is obviously a lie. Obviously, I'm never done that or will ever do that. But like, I have this fear that I'm just going to blurt it out of like some weird psychological, which is crazy because I don't have that. But yeah. And then my second one, this is real serious, man. This is real. This is very real. Is a fear of being left out.
Oh, wow.
FOMO,
I actually didn't know that about you.
I get that to the max, man. I hate not being invited. I'm such a fear that I'm missing out on all the exciting moments in life, and new friendships being made, and like that's my biggest fear. I honestly believe that's my biggest fears.
Wow. I actually didn't know that about you, or if I just never gathered that from you. So you hide it well, or you accommodate for it rather well, I must say. My last one, and this one's nuanced as much as anything else is, especially if we're getting real, but I'll give you some context here. I'm scared that people won't like me if they were to get to know me beyond a superficial level. Not the real me kind of thing where it's like, that normal thing, but just more so, I think if people were to get to know like it within each layer, the more that they wouldn't like me as a person. But it's not to anything to where I take action about it per se. I think like I don't go out and actively seek for others' approval or am paralyzed by other people liking me. It's only whenever I actually care about what somebody thinks and they're close to me and I value their opinion and their friendship and everything else that I think the more, if they know more and more and more about me, the less they'll like about me. So yeah, that's if we're going to be real, these are the real things that actually scare me. But let's go and lighten the mood a little bit. Let's go. What is your first funny fear, David? What's something that is just redonkulous?
That is, I wondered if you meant that if these are supposed to be funny fears of our own, because I have funny fears that I found, like interesting fears that I found online. So that's what I have to share here.
I put these as my own, but if what you have prepared is
well,
of others,
I wish
that's
I
fine.
had taken the time to think of those. But anyway, so here's an interesting one: plutophobia is the fear of money. Now, let me just say, I need a friend who has this fear. And when they're having an episode, I can be there for them and take it off their hands.
Ah, yes.
Because
yes.
I am that good of a person, Phil.
Yes, of course. You're willing to throw yourself in front of that Gucci bullet.
Oh, yeah. Now, the other one that I found is called, and wait for this, hippopotamonstrossesquipedaliophobia.
Nicely done.
I practiced saying this word, hippopotamonstrossesquipedaliophobia.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what it is? It's the fear of long words.
That's right. I think I have heard. Yes, I've heard that one before. It's an oxymoron. Yeah,
it's so like.
Or it's not an oxymoron.
Almost like petty,
no,
like.
Oh, so you're
really
you're afraid
you have
of
a
these?
fear of long words?
Let's give it right
Guess
back
what?
to you. No, that's good. That's good. My funny fears, again, getting real here, but these ones are more lighthearted. Much like you're worried that you're just going to say and yell out the wrong thing, especially when I was younger, because I'm not usually a passenger in cars anymore. But I have this irrational fear that the door is going to open while I'm in the back seat of a car and I'll just like fall out like while we're on the highway. Again, I don't know what it is. Like just for some reason, the door will open without my consent and I'll just roll onto the freeway. And then now I'll break something, heaven forbid, I'll get all bruised and scratched up. But like leaning on the door is it raises my inner blood level and everything because I'm just so worried that I'm like, I'm living on the edge, even though there's no possible way.
I get that whenever I lean on any like railing, like that's, I get that exact same thing. But I also, you mentioned cars. I get that. I have this thing where I'm sitting in the front seat of a car. I find it difficult to close my eyes because if I feel like if I close my eyes, then the person driving is going to crash because I'm not paying attention to the road.
I've never had
really
that problem.
Weird.
I've always been able to sleep in a car, but my condolences.
Only in the front seat, though. In the back seat, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, to close this all out, I'm scared of how things will sound in close spaces. Now, let me explain. I've not been to a point in my life to where I've really lived by myself, like whether it be a studio, whether it be a house, what have you. So, with that being said, I have a lot of roommates. Now it's family, especially. But even when it's just regular roommates, I'm very voice and audio level conscious. And maybe that's just because of my job that I'm just very aware of like, I'm probably being too loud, whatever it is. But as you know, David, and as I'm hoping you, the viewer, know by now, I like to watch a lot of cinema. So I like to watch a lot of movies, TV shows, what have you. And I'm afraid that people will think I'm watching something naughty, which may be true. Yeah. Which may be true, but it's not for that reason. Like it's not explicitly like XXX. It's just, I don't know, I'm watching an episode of the TV show Shameless, and I'm actually watching it for the content, not for any other dirty ulterior motives or something, or heaven forbid, it's like it's like a scary episode, and so somebody's getting tortured or something, and they're just yelling, ah, and then I'm just worried that now my dad, who's across the way, is going to wake up and just think, should probably put my pillow on my ear because something's happening.
And think, why do I only hear men wailing?
So, exactly. It's something that it's just that thing, right, where you grab the remote and you start turning it down because you're like, God, I would be embarrassed.
Which, if anything, almost makes it worse,
right? Yeah.
Because if you were just blasting it, then how could anyone think that you were actually watching something adult?
I'm just always thinking, man, behind anybody
you're
walking
not alone,
by,
man.
Oh, I know. I know I've got multiple people coming with me on that fear train, not fear bus. But especially since I'm near the bathroom, I'm like, sometimes my family just invites, like, I have the community bathroom right next to me. These people don't know me, don't know, like, I'm not just pumping out some naughty stuff in the middle of the day. I'm just happening to watch like a serious dramatic piece of like Blue Valentine, and there just happens to be a sex scene in here. I'm not like looking for it. It just happens to be on. I don't know. So anyways, that's one of my biggest funny fears. Let us move along to one of my actual like excitement things, a new segment. Ooh. So we go on to a new segment that we will be introducing to you, and it's our first time playing and utilizing. It is called You Will Be Missed, and it goes something like this. We will be listing something that is no longer with us, is no longer there to be had and to be enjoyed by us anymore. And you know what? Just in ode in memory of, we will miss it. So, David, why don't you go first on this, the inaugural ship voyage of You Will Be Missed?
Summer dresses. Now comes the time for thick, poofy jackets and long pants and layers. And gone is the warm weather, and with it, the summer dresses. You will be missed.
Long may they reign. Mine, too, falls in the line of clothing, but it's for a different cause. David, I came into some money recently, and that means that I will no longer be one with my old semi-American underwear. I will be upgrading my underwear. I've had some pleasurable times in that underwear, and some double XL shorts that were too big about 2X's ago. You will be missed. On theme with the episode, we are not going any more into fears. In fact, we're going into loves. This is, of course, our favorite films that are spooky, thrilly, what have you, would qualify and be appropriate within a Halloween-themed setting. Our top 3 just favorite Halloween-typed movies. David, what is your number 3? Or, I don't know, just one of the 3 if you don't have them ranked.
This is a very challenging thing for me because I'm not a huge fan of scary movies, and I tried to exclude a lot of the movies that I love that are more thriller and less horror. I just thought this should be really Halloween, like actual horror movies for the most part. I mean, it's really open to interpretation. My number 3 is It, and that includes the both of them.
Yes, I'm along with you where it's like the franchise mostly. Yeah. My number 3 would be Scream. Scream 2 specifically was probably my favorite one of them. I enjoyed the writing on those, even going through the one. I thought that it was rather smart, and I enjoyed that.
I'm a huge fan of scary movie movies.
Scary movie movies?
As in the Scary Movie series, the parody.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know that about you.
Believe it or not, never seen Scream, but I've seen all the scary movies.
Tim Curry is phenomenal. I love Tim Curry, and like I think it's like Scream, Scary Movie 2. All right, your number 2, speaking of which.
My number 2 is A Quiet Place. I thought this definitely kind of fell into the horror movie genre. Yes. It's a little bit more, it's less sort of like, I don't know how to, I'm not even going to try to put it into words, but definitely falls in there. And yours?
Mine is a long franchise, but it certainly peaked in the middle there. So we're going to go with Saw, and somewhere about 3 or 4. Saw is a fantastic franchise. I would recommend at least going up to Saw number 5 for anybody. It's fantastic. The writing surprises you, and the twists usually succeed for me.
See, this is just another example. Like, I've never seen any of the Saw movies. I'm just not a horror movie guy. I'm not. My honorable mention, Silence of the Lambs. I left it out
Nice.
not because it's not one of my top, probably my top 2 of thrillers, but I just saw it more as like a crime thriller than a horror movie. Fair
enough. My honorable mention is Nightmare on Elm Street. Just a classic. Just classic. You can have it on the back. It's pretty self-explanatory. Brilliant idea, especially for its time. And the graphic and the stunts and everything actually hold up rather well. You've got to miss those practical stunts. So your final
And again,
one.
this is challenging. Like I'm saying this with no confidence whatsoever, but I do love The Shining.
Again, one that's missed my purview, but I
still need to see Dr. Sleep. I still haven't seen it, but I would like to.
The one that takes the top of my list, and I hope that you would think that it qualifies, Get Out.
Yes, I considered that very strongly. Again, I would have put it more in that like psycho thriller. Well, I don't know. It definitely qualifies.
Okay, cool.
It was really open to interpretation though, wasn't it? So yeah, I'm with you. It was definitely up there for me as well.
Story meets horror meets actually chilling meets a message. Weirdly enough, I just think it's one of the best ever. The only thing it fails in is that you can't really just put it on in the background and kind of tune in and out. It's you have to actually respect it and watch it. It is time for the game, and as such, in these lovely parts, we move to the good bit, the part where we do the game, and that is the game. You get it? Because it's a game. Anyways, welcome to the game segment. We are joined by my guest this week. You know her. You might love her. Don't know. I'm still iffy on the subject. It is Megan Montoya. Megan, welcome back. Thank you for coming back in all sincerity. Welcome back to the podcast. Did you think we would invite you back, first of all?
Not at all. Not one bit. And I was hoping you'd continue with the accent thing. I thought I was going to come in with an accent.
Well, I don't know. You still were allowed to. Do you want to retake it back? You want to take it back for your cue since we're all actors here?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome, Megan. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for welcoming to your show so politely you did, isn't it?
Thank you for your time, Megan. And next on the show, Robert Pattinson. Okay. But anyways, thank you for coming back, Megan. We have, I know that you're looking around the room, seeing how much nicer it is since last time you've been here, seeing all the fancy new toys and baubles. I'm glad that we were able to bring you on that then and impress you now. But since the last time we've had you, did we ask you questions about yourself? I'm curious. That may be something new as well.
I think you did. I think you asked me like, what I want to do for a living or what I do for a living.
Obviously, it left a perfect impression for you. Hopefully, it left a bigger impression to you, the audience. But we will continue that streak with David. David, go ahead and get in the first of your 2 questions.
Absolutely. So nice to talk to you again, Megan. And my first question for you is, what exotic animal would you choose to have as a pet?
Ooh, can I pick like a capybara?
Is that how you actually pronounce it?
I think so.
I've heard other people say capybara, but like the first time I heard of it was on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and he says capybara, so I can't imagine they would say it wrong.
That is a hard pronunciation of the E. There's like or the Y sound. Capybara.
Who says it? Is it Zach or Cody?
It's Cody, so I trust him.
Oh yeah, I mean then you don't argue with Cody, right? Cody knows everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitively.
Megan, to go in line and theme with the show today, what is your biggest fear, real or silly? Preferably real, or just you can talk about having a toilet paper stuck out your bottom. I don't know.
Okay, interesting example, but I would say I've always been really weird about using spoons at restaurants. Like I just think they're dirty all the time, and so I just kind of freak out and I try to avoid them at all costs.
You heard it here first, folks. She is weird about spooning. David, your question.
Love it. I absolutely love it. My next question is, would you rather be bald or have to wear a hat every time you're out of the house? Like every time you leave the house, as long as you're not at home, you have to be wearing a hat.
Wouldn't I do that if I was bald?
Wait, for like the rest of her life?
Not necessarily. There's nothing wrong with being bald, Megan.
That's true, but like, what if my head gets cold?
What is is your answer? I guess your answer is that you would wear the hat.
Yeah, I'm glad you got it.
Because if your head gets cold, then you're probably going to put on a hat. So
yeah, so I'll go with the hat.
I guess you could always buy some of those hand warmers and just apply it to your head and just walk
Duct
around
tape
holding
it to my head.
But keeping so persistent to say, but it's not a hat. I'm keeping my head warm just for this, but it's not a hat. All right, it is your game.
Or I get a portable blow dryer.
Portable blow dryer. Yes, go ahead, David. It is your game.
All right. So since Halloween is coming up and we are talking about fears, I thought I would theme the game or try to come up with a game around trick or treat. And so I'm calling this game rather creatively Trick or Treat, motherfucker.
Hey,
love it.
Must be the money.
Yeah, Phil's going to have to edit that out later. And every time we say it. Or we could maybe we just bite the bullet and have the little E for explicit on the episode.
We should do trick or treat fofo, and we'll all know what it means. But I won't have to edit it.
Fofo sure. Or mofo?
Mofo's too suggestive, I think. So if we go fofo, or we can either go fofo or tofo.
Let's just move on. How about that?
So
essentially, this game is very loose. It's there's no strict rules around the types of questions that are going to be asked. Yeah, we like to keep it fun and free and wild, especially on Halloween. And so essentially, the person being asked a question, before they hear the question, will get to pick trick or treat. Now, if they pick treat, then they get the question. If they get it right, they get a point. If they get it wrong, no points. But if they pick trick, then if they get the question correct, they would get 2 points. However, if they get the question incorrect, they get -1 point.
No.
So it's kind of a gamble. Gasp.
Dang.
Boo. Yay. All right. Is that relatively understood by both you, Phil, and you, Megan?
Yes.
I am picking up what you are laying down.
Oh, I don't know about that. All right. So, Megan, who do you want to face off against first?
Probably Philip.
Phenomenal.
Probably Philip.
Meet your demise early and then take your vengeance later.
So that means it'll be my game first. Now, upon request of Phil, if we happen to be posting a video of this, are we recording video right now, Phil?
We are indeed. Megan opted not to show herself, but we are not afraid.
Right. So if we happen to be posting this video somewhere, then I am picking all my questions on little pieces of paper out of a trick-or-treating pumpkin bucket thingy. So I'm just trying to paint a picture for you, the listening audience, because this is obviously not a visual medium.
Yes, it is a vibrant orange, and it is indeed
it has a
spooky.
Smiley pumpkin face on it, jack-o'-lantern, if you will. All right, so I have a little bit of a history lesson before I get into the game here.
Oh, good.
Trick-or-treating is a popular Halloween tradition. Most especially in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It is believed to have origins in mumming in medieval times. Mumming, where people in fancy dress would parade in the streets and enter people's homes to perform or play dice.
Kind of like what Robert De Niro did.
This is the information that I got from Wikipedia. Now, this is closely related also to souling. Soul as in, like, people believe in a soul. Souling.
I saw that Pixar film.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. We all did, which was an All Hallows Eve tradition where soulers would go from parish to parish begging for soul cakes.
It's called cocoa.
Creepy. Cocaine. In exchange for prayers for the souls of those close to the givers of the cakes. So from what I understand in my research, this in the Philippines, this still happens, and they even dress in white sheets to symbolize the souls. Now, in Scotland and Ireland, there was a tradition called guising, where children would go from house to house dressed in costumes, asking for food or coins, very similar to modern trick-or-treating. What's interesting is that these kids would go around with lanterns made from, any guesses?
I'm still stuck on the word guising.
Pumpkins.
Not pumpkins. Turnips. Turnips. The Celtic man's pumpkin. Yes. So there's your little history, your little fun history lesson around the origins of trick-or-treating. Comes from the Celtic world.
Snap.
All right. So I am going to go first to Megan. A trick or a treat, Megan?
Trick.
Trick. She picks trick. All right. And I'm going to grab my little bucket and I'm going to pull out a piece of paper. And you will be getting question number 9. How many Oscars was Psycho nominated for? Is it higher or lower than 5 nominations?
Higher.
Higher than 5. And she gets it wrong.
No.
The correct answer is 4. It should have been lower, and you get -1 point, Megan.
I was
What a
hoping
tragedy.
for beginner's luck.
Yeah.
I was hoping you wouldn't have beginner's luck.
Unfortunately, it's not St. Patty's Day. It's Halloween, where things are spooky and scary, and it's all about... never mind. Phil, trick or treat?
I will be... So trick is worth 2. I will go with treat.
So you're going for the easy road.
So you're a coward.
He is a coward. I'm just marking down tallying up the score. So far, it's 0 to you, Phil, and -1. So I'm pulling out of my little pumpkin bucket. I pull out a little piece of paper, and you will get a question number 7. Question number 7. Vampire bats are a real thing. True or false?
That is true.
It is true. They are real, and they originate from somewhere in southern Argentina. Ooh. Yes. All right. Well done. You get a point, Phil.
Thank you.
You should have gone for the trick, man. All right, Megan, we go back to you. Would you like a trick or would you like a treat?
I'm doing a trick again.
Oh, she's ballsy.
Trick
I
shot.
love it. Let's go into the little bucket of wonders and ghouls and ghosts. And you will be getting question number 4. Question number 4. What is the body count? And this is not a dirty question. The body count in the movie Halloween. Is it? Sorry, no. Yes, you just have to tell me the number. There are multiple correct answers based on interpretation. So either one will give you the point, or the 2 points rather.
In Halloween, how many kills are there?
Does she get because I would have asked for myself, does she get like a barrier or like a buffer of like 1 or 2 within 1 or 2?
Sure.
No. Phenomenal. All right.
I'm going to say
get within 2,
6.
Megan.
6 is correct. 6 is correct. I would have accepted either 5 or 6 because there are 5 humans and 1 dog. But of course the dog counts. Right. Of course it does. Dogs have souls and humans don't. Oh, I've never seen it. All right, Megan, you get 2 points, which means you tie it up at 1 point apiece. But we go back to Phil. Phil, what would you like? A trick or a treat?
I would like a treat. Give me that lollipop.
Philly wants a treat. We go into the bucket of wonders here. Oh, question number 1. What is the name of Dracula's sidekick?
Oh, Jesus. I know like Frankenstein's, but I didn't even know Dracula had a sidekick. I'm going to go with...
Does Frankenstein have a sidekick?
Yeah. To like his like little guy Hunchback.
The doctor.
Yeah.
I know.
He has like a...
Igor.
Igor, yes, of course, Igor. Okay, well, who is the Igor to Dracula?
I'm gonna go with Morticia, not knowing whatsoever.
No, unfortunately, you'll be glad you went with treat and not trick because the correct answer is Renfield.
Ooh.
Does it sound familiar now?
Not at all.
Not at all? Have you never seen Dracula or Dracula Dead and Loving It? The spoof with Leslie Nielsen? It's fantastic.
No, you know what? The closest one was seeing that one commercial for like Dracula Legends or whatever the hell that was, and it looked pretty cool, but I actually have never seen it.
You should watch Dracula Dead and Loving It. Yes, it's so good. I watched it like a month ago. It's fantastic.
Anybody ever seen an interview with a vampire? I heard Tom Cruise does a horrible Dracula. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I have seen it. And he's not the best part of the movie. Brad Pitt's in it. He does good. He's
I heard
does
Gary
well
Oldman
in
does
it.
well too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Let's just move along back to the Tomb of Ghouls.
Yes, indeed. All right. It is Megan, you to go.
Treat.
A treat. Of course, a treat.
Coward.
We go into the...
You kidding me?
Says you. Yeah. We go into our little bucket of wonders, and you get question 5. In which U.S. state is it illegal to dress as a nun or a priest for Halloween? Is it Alabama, Mississippi, Alaska, or California?
Wow, if it was California, I'd really be thrown for a loop.
I've seen people break that law if it's California.
Yeah. The first thing I thought when you asked the question was Alabama, so I kind of feel like I should just go with it. So I'm going to say Alabama.
Alabama's correct, and you get another
my
point.
God.
You should have stuck with the ballsiness and gone with a trick, but you do get a point, so well done.
Thank you.
So the score is now 2-1. We go back to Phil. What would you like, a trick or a treat, Phil?
There is a strategy being implemented here, David. So we are going to go treat.
It's a real boring strategy, but
it's being
okay.
a coward. That's your strategy.
My ass is not grass. That's all I have to say.
I'm mixing it all about, and I'm going to pull out number 2. Question number 2.
I love that.
What was Dracula's real name? Was it Ivan the Terrible, Stephen the Great, Vlad the Impaler, or Alexander the Good? And I will say all of these are real people.
Yes. I would be, knowing it's a novelization, I think we could be a little bit more dramatic. I know it's not like Ivan the Great. Ivan the Great, I think, is a Russian monarch.
Nope, there's no Ivan the Great. Ivan the Terrible.
Oh, Ivan the Terrible.
Stephen the Great.
Okay, so I'm
Alexander
mixing
the Good,
Thanks.
Vlad the Impaler,
Thanks for
and
making
Alexander
me
the
look
Good.
stupid, David. Thank you.
You're doing that all
you
yourself,
know what?
Philip.
I believe exactly. I believe the audience deserves the truth.
All right.
Okay.
Fake facts. I'm gonna go with Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler is correct, so you do get a point. Well done. The score is 2-2 each, 2 to everyone. Megan, we go back to you. Would you like a trick or a treat?
I'll do trick.
Ooh, she goes trick. Fantastic. We go into our little pumpkin of goodies, and we pull out question number 11.
Yes.
All right, 11. Oh, reminder, Phil, just by the way, you do have a skipping stone.
I do. Yes.
11. How old was the youngest person accused of witchcraft during the Salem witch trials? Is it 20, 14, 10, or 4?
Now, I should say this is an unfair question to Megan because she has in-depth and personal knowledge about this herself.
About witchcraft or about the Salem witch trials?
I was accused.
About witchcraft.
She's still alive.
Every Halloween, I see the witch hat, and I know Megan has deep, intimate knowledge. It's unfair, but I'll let it pass.
Okay, I feel like because
it's
you're
all
doing
random,
all this,
man.
I'm
I
going to
pulled
get
it out
wrong.
of the bucket here.
I'm going to say 14.
14 is incorrect, which means you get -1 point. The correct answer is 4. Would you believe that? 4
Oh my
years
God.
old. Yeah, I know.
I'm going to say
All
I got
right,
that
so
wrong because of Philip.
You get -1, so you're back down to 1 point. Phil, you're on 2. We go to you, Phil. What will you have? Will you have a trick or a treat?
I will have...
Need I ask?
No. I will have a trick.
Ooh, a trick.
Wow.
Oh.
I know. They see me rolling. They hate it.
Question 8. What does the word hallow refer to?
Oh, that's it? I fill in the blanks?
Yes.
I will use my skipping stone on this.
Very wise.
one.
The word hallow means saint or holy person. All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, I was about to say
As it
of
were.
reverence or but it would have been left to
I
interpretation.
might have accepted it, but very well, you skip. So I go back into my cauldron of doom, and I'm picking out number 3. Question number 3. Pumpkins originate from Scandinavia. True or false?
Oh, from Scandinavia. I mean, that is Europe, so it makes sense. I'm gonna go with true. I'm gonna go with true.
And he fails. Minus 1 point. They actually originate from Central America, would you believe? So you get minus 1 point, and we are tied at 1-1 again. Here we go.
Going into our last round of
Megan,
questions.
back to you. Your last round of questions here. Will you have a trick or a treat?
Trick.
Trick. I love it. I love it. Oh, okay. I've pulled out question 10.
Do I have a skipping stone?
No, you don't have a skipping stone.
You didn't win, Megan. Get on my level.
All right. The Nightmare Before Christmas was directed by Tim Burton. True or false?
True.
False. Unfortunately, The Nightmare Before Christmas was written by Tim Burton, but it was directed by... Oh dear, I've forgotten already. We're going to... Hold, please. It was directed, unfortunately for you, by Henry Selick. Henry
oh my
Selick.
God, I didn't know that. I watched it yesterday.
Of course you did.
Shows you how
you should have watched the credits.
Yes, watch the credits. Wow.
All
so
right,
that is a -1.
That is a -1. And Phil, what will you have? Will you have a trick or will you make it interesting by going with a trick, or will you play it safe by going with a treat?
You know, if it were any other guest who I could fathom and stomach losing to, I would pick a trick. But unfortunately, it's Megan. So I will go with a treat. Give me something good to eat. I'm going to make Megan smell my feet.
The final question. I'll be surprised if you get this right. What is the first name of Dr. Frankenstein?
We're going to go with Frankie for the win.
I think I know it. Can I tap
go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, of course you can. Go ahead.
Are we sure he's not going to take my point?
No, I won't get your point. No.
He won't. He's got it wrong already.
Yeah.
It's Victor, right?
It is, of course, Victor.
It is Victor.
Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein.
That rings a bell.
And the score finishes, Phil, you have 1 point.
No, I have
Megan,
two.
you have 1.
No, because I had 2.
You did a trick and you got it wrong.
And then you got a trick and you got it wrong. So you had 1, and then you just got this wrong. I promise you, man, it doesn't really matter, but you have 1 point.
Okay.
We can go back through it again later, and I'll prove it to you.
Yeah, sure, but okay, cool. So I have 2.
All right,
you say?
No, you have 1.
God.
Megan has 0. You have 1.
Okay, so I have 2. Good.
All right, you do win. All right, so let me just, because I have a themed tiebreaker here, so let's go to the tiebreaker just for fun. Totally. Luck of the draw, Megan. I'm sorry. All right, the tiebreaker would have been: how many so-called witches were burned at the stake in the Salem witch trials?
Ooh.
And closest wins.
I think Megan held the lead, so she would have been able to go on second, because I would have forced the tie technically. So I would have gone first.
Go ahead.
I think it actually was a lot. I think it was something redonkulous, like 38.
All right, Megan, any guesses?
Mine was somewhere around there, but I feel like even though it was quite a few, it was like less than we think. So I'm just gonna go close
Pick
to
2,
his
Megan, just
at
to
like
be safe.
35.
35. You're both horrifically wrong.
Really?
35, 38. Megan, you were closer. The correct answer is 0. So in actual fact, those who were executed under suspicion or whatever proof, in quotes, was presented of witchcraft were not burned at the stake at all. They were hanged.
They were hung. Yeah, that's right.
No, they were not hung. They were hanged. I definitely doubt that they were hung. However, they were hanged, except for Giles Corey,
witchcraft,
who was famously pressed to death by piling rocks on top of him.
Right. He was quoted to say more weight, right?
Yes, that is correct.
He too was
hung. I only know this because of the Crucible. But yeah, everyone was Giles Corey was definitely hung, but the rest of them were all hanged.
I mean, when you're going out requesting for more punishment, Daddy, that kind of suggests a little something.
Jesus. I mean, here we are, so close to All Hallows Eve, and we're speaking ill of the dead. Okay, but
with all due respect to his family and his living,
yeah,
living on.
So here we are. None of them were burned at all, but they were all very well hung. Moving on.
All right. So Megan lost to me, which is natural. It is all right. But we move along to my conduction of the game, which means that she gets a second crack at actually beating somebody today, David. So good luck to both of you.
I got more questions right than you. For the record, more questions right than you. And also, I'm simply not a coward.
I can't hear over all this losing, Tom. Yes, it is coming in quite clear. Thank you. But not to be outdone, I too have brought a jack-o'-lantern, and I will be pulling from mine as well. Same amount of questions, yes, 10. But unlike David, I am actually an organized fool. So mine actually hold the questions on them, not directing me to go look at the number of the questions slotted for them. I rather like that touch.
That was simply a lack of time. I prepared all these little slips of paper while we were introducing Megan because I forgot to do it earlier.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, but I still liked it.
Did you not see me cutting it with scissors earlier?
No, you were very sneaky, very sneaky. Makes me wonder what you do on the sly over there when I'm not looking. All right.
You'll never know.
So same rules apply. The only difference is mine is themed as well, but completely different. So there we go. So enjoy the last view as we kiss this. Megan, you got first last time, and you will get to go first this time as well. Trick or treat, Megan?
Trick.
Trick, she says, and she continues her theme. The first one, here we go. Upside down. What is the color of a pumpkin?
I feel like there's multiple colors of different pumpkins.
What is the stereotypical color of a pumpkin?
Orange.
Yes, and she gets on the board with 2. Well done.
Are you serious?
Done. I have them either hard or easy, David. She happened to nail an easy one. You too have an option for an easy one. Which one do you want of trick or treat?
I will take trick.
Trick. Here is a hint on whether or not it's going to be a hard or easy one. If it's a big piece of paper, it's probably a hard one.
That's what she said. All right, go on. Oh, fantastic.
Yes. Which is the name of the phobia that relates to the fear of ugliness, babies or otherwise? We've got A, syngenisophobia, B, xanthophobia, C, zemophobia, or D, cacophobia. Again, we're looking for the fear of ugliness. A, B, C, or D, and I can attempt to re-say them.
Say the first 2 again, please.
Yes, syngenisophobia. B is xanthophobia.
I'm going to go with A, please. A is my answer.
A is his answer, and -1 is his result. It is actually cacophobia was what we were looking for.
Wow.
Cacophobia. Yes.
I feel like I know why you chose this question, Philip.
I wonder why I would have chosen that question, Megan. And we move along. Do you want a trick or a treat, Megan?
Trick.
Trick, she says, and I grab this one and we look along. Oh, it's a big one. An egg can rot within 2 hours if not properly refrigerated. But how many days can an egg last if properly refrigerated? The time I found gave a range, so you will get a 2-day buffer from that median day, including the day as well. So let's say it were to be 120 days, you would get 118 to 122.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how long I've had eggs in my fridge. I'm gonna say, like, this might sound terrible or it might sound stupid, but it might sound great. I'm gonna say 20.
You're actually not that far off. You're actually under. Eggs properly stored are one of the most durable foods we have in existence right now. It is 29 to 33 days. 29 to 33 days, meaning it is from, what is that, 4 to 5 weeks that you can store them. So, Megan, you go -1 for a lovely prompt and total of 1 point. Now, David, we go back to you. Trick or treat?
Give me a trick.
He wants a trick. He wants it all back.
I love a healthy competition.
Oh, God.
All right. Susie went to her local Arizona Target, not a sponsor of the pod yet, and bought herself an entire supply for Halloween, including a Reese's Snack Size Club Mix, 32.6 ounces, a plush pumpkin pail to collect candy in, and her adult T-Rex inflatable one-size-fits-most costume. And it only cost her blank. You get a buffer of $5. How much did her receipt total? One more time. Reese's Snack Size Club Mix, plush pumpkin pail, and an adult T-Rex inflatable one-size-fits-most costume.
I'm going to say $43.
Ooh, not even close. $70.58 was the target we were looking for, but we would have accepted down to 65 and 75. So that means, David, you are now at -2, or I suppose the kids would say -2. And Megan, unfortunately, you are winning. So we go back to you, Megan. Which would you like to go, trick or treat?
Trick.
Most trick. Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
What month is Halloween located within?
It's in October.
That is correct. And we are now, Megan, to +3. David, trick or treat?
I mean, I'm 5 points down, so I have to go with trick.
He certainly does. Ooh, this isn't that big one.
Yes, easy one.
All right, here we go, David. Name 3 uses for toilet paper and go.
Wiping your butt, wiping your nose, and wiping your arm. I don't know.
We would have accepted to stop a nosebleed, but, you know, whatever you just said there should be fine.
You could have said
am I wrong?
You could have said TP.
I could have.
All right, so now, David, you are back to respectability at a whopping 0. Megan, you're still ahead with 3. What would you like to go, trick or treat?
Trick.
Trick. Ooh. Uh-oh. It's a big one. On average, how many seeds are in an apple? A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, D, 4.
4.
I'm not done. E, 5,
Oh my God.
F, 6, G, 7, or H, 8.
7.
So are you saying G for 7?
God, I hate you. No, now I'm gonna think so I can make you miserable.
Good.
I feel like there's quite a bit. There's obviously at least 4, but is there 5? I'm gonna say 6.
I'm sorry, is that F for 6?
Oh my God, yes, F for 6.
Driving me crazy.
You were 1 off. It is E for 5. E for 5 would have been your answer there. You were just on it. But unfortunately, Megan, you are knocked back down to 1 with, or no, excuse me, you're back down to 2 with that question there. And David, we go back to you at 0. Trick or treat?
Give me a trick.
He says trick. I can't grab it. All right, David. Megan, keep an honest eye at his eyes. We eyes front, my friend.
Okay.
Without looking, eyes up. What color undies are you wearing right now? We will trust your integrity with no proof needed.
Blue.
Blue.
Blue with white stripes.
All right, phenomenal. He's fairly certain about it. Phenomenal. All right, we will give that to him. +2, meaning
Wait, let
he
me
is.
just check.
All right, yes,
I'm
again.
right. I can show you if you want.
Now we are fine.
I believe you.
We believe you. All right. As I look down, there is one easy and one hard, just for knowledge of nobody in particular.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Megan. Trick or treat?
I feel like no matter what, we're going to pick trick because we're not cowards like you.
Phenomenal.
Precisely.
So is that indeed a trick or treat?
Yeah, trick.
All right. It's a pretty big one.
That's what she
Ooh.
said.
Thank you. What is the
Not for
yearly
him.
average salary in dollars for a paranormal investigator? Point of reference, 52,000 was the average in the same time frame for both figures. So you get a $4,000 buffer, the yearly average salary in dollars for a paranormal investigator.
You know what's funny? I feel like it's either really low or like absurdly high. I can't imagine.
You know there's got to be people who will pay those, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say what was your frame of reference for the average at the time?
$52,000, and this is the average for everybody. So keep that in mind. I don't know if that matters at all.
Right. I'm going to say like 42,000.
On the freaking dot. I kid you not. Look at that. 42,000.
Yes, I've seen The Conjuring
Wow.
a million times.
Holy moly. That is probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen you do, Megan. Ever.
Oh my
Ever.
God.
Oh, man.
All right. On the dot. That means that Megan now leads 2 to David's 1. David.
No. She leads 4 to my 2.
Okay. That too.
Philip
I think
hates
so.
me. Why am I even on this podcast?
Philip sucks at math.
I think
I
it's
know
more
that's
so,
the case.
It's more so the
I'm
math, Megan, to be
to
fair on
David.
this one.
I'm here to talk to David and David only.
Phenomenal. So David, on the last one, trick or treat.
I mean, she's 2 points ahead by my reckoning.
Okay, yeah, I'll trust you.
I'm
on
going to
this.
go with trick.
What would a ghost breastfeed with? Say it.
Do I get a chance to think about this for a second?
Say ghost titty.
Oh, a boob.
Can I say titty on this podcast?
It's boobies is what I wrote down, but yes. All right. That takes us to a tie by my reckoning.
Yes.
And
Yes, because look, I was on 0 and she was on 3, and then she got one wrong and I got one right, which put us both on 2. And then she got that last one right, 4, and I was still on 2, and now we're both on 4.
Amazing. One competent person makes a whole podcast worth it.
All right, now I'm going to tell you guys my completely prepared and completely there tiebreaker. In US dollars, how
Oh,
much
God.
did The Nightmare Before Christmas gross? And we will start with, since David forced the matter, he gets to go first.
Closest
David.
wins?
Yes, in millions.
Yes. I'm going to say
Surprisingly, not billions.
not a lot of movies get into the billions. So Nightmare Before Christmas, it does not surprise me that it
Especially for the time it came out. I feel like nowadays
right.
more.
I'm going to say 63 million.
63 million. Megan, we go to you.
For some reason, I feel like, gosh, I'm either going to butcher this or obviously get it right, the 50-50 shot. But it's been a year since I've seen it, but they have that.
You said you just watched it last night. Now you're lying on the podcast?
If you would let me finish. Here, wait
Okay.
1 second. There was this for a reason. I watched, the movies that made us. That's what I watched last year. And yeah, I did watch the actual movie last night, or yesterday. And I feel like they talked about it, and I feel like it wasn't as much as I thought it would be. So I'm gonna say like 30 million.
Well, Megan, per the usual, you have failed me. We are now
Oh my
at
God.
91.5 million grossed box office for The Nightmare Before
Oh,
Christmas, slightly above Frankenweenie at 81.5 million, and below Corpse Bride at 118.1 million. So that means David, with a furious comeback, a furious trick-laden strategy, made his way to the tippy, as they say, and
As they
now,
definitely
as
say.
they definitely say, and is the king of this pumpkin-sized castle. Well, Megan,
yes. Congratulations, David. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
yes,
Yeah, Phil's been catching up to me in recent weeks, so I really, really needed the win. So
yes, you really,
there
really
we
did,
go.
Megan. So glad that you could join us today. Is there anything that you would want to plug before you leave?
You can follow me on Instagram at Megan M123, the normal Megan MEGAN.
Yes, and actually, you're selling artwork. Just as a simple aside, do you have any Halloween-themed artwork coming out for the holiday?
Yeah, funny enough, I have a Nightmare Before Christmas painting that's going to come out soon.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for joining us, Megan. In all sincerity, we always appreciate having you on. And we will go along to whatever the hell we have next because I cannot. Oh, the scores. Duh. I won. So that means that I go to a sterling record of 13 and 18. But David also won, and he goes to a 14 and 19 record. That slaps. We love this part of the show because it just gets us funkadelic in all the fine ways possible. David, what slaps for you this week?
So this week, I know we're talking about Halloween, but as you know, I'm never a theme kind of person when it comes to that slaps. I like to keep it pure, something that I've really been enjoying this week. And I've seen a couple movies. I rewatched 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. Those are great.
How'd they hold up?
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
I love they're great. And they don't have to be great. They're just goofy.
Oh, yeah.
I rewatched Casino Royale, and no, none of this. Adele just released a new song for the first time in a while, I gather. And I listened to it. And I thought, So Alexa continued to play songs by Adele, and on came Set Fire to the Rain. And that song absolutely slaps. It is Adele's best song, and if you disagree, you can bite me. Even though that's not what we're doing right now.
You're right.
But it is definitely Adele's best song, and Set Fire to the Rain, that slaps.
It's interesting because I normally like to stay on theme and on brand, but a song came into my purview that interrupted all that because it's been stuck in my freaking head. And when that happens, I know it has to be a week's That Slaps. It's called Cold Heart. It's the acoustic version that's actually very important because there are multiple renditions of this song. It's by Elton John and Dua Lipa. Actually, it's a brilliant remix. I actually would suggest it to you, David. I think you might even like the original remixes, but the acoustic version is the version that I much prefer. It very much slaps. My only fear, actually, is that this will be a top 100 song. It will be a popular song, even though it's not right now. It just recently released. I'm afraid that it's going to be something that'll be just so popular. I think we've never really stated this, but we try to keep
get
it.
Sick of it?
Oh, possibly, but even so, we just try to stay a little bit out of the mainstream or just bring something back that's been out of mind. But either way, right now it's not, and I'll defend my decision with that. But it's phenomenal. It slaps. Thank you so much again for listening to our podcast. We appreciate you coming in and taking some time with us and getting your ghoul on. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We've got some thanks to get a hold of. Thank you so much to Tara Amstutz and Josh Hans for their wonderful, wonderful, wonderful contributions to the podcast. We could not do it without you.
Yes, and thank you to Cass and Crossland and to Jake Corlang for the music that you hear on this show. We love it. It really helps us add so much
flavor.
Flavor to this show. Yes, absolutely. So thank you guys.
Yes, and thank you, most importantly, you, the listener. Yes, you. We appreciate your time, and thank you so much for listening to us. If you love what you hear, go ahead and click that subscribe button no matter where you are listening to us, whether that be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're like everywhere, man. Why are you not listening to us on all of them except for Pandora? Because screw you, Pandora.
Oh my God, Jimmy, what was that? Bob, relax, okay? Just don't freak out. Oh my God, is that a werewolf? Quickly howl or something. Oh! No, it's not a werewolf, that's a bear!